Alright folks, my Walkaway video had more viewership than all of the rest of my videos combined. And that tells me that this is a hot topic for everybody, and it's something that we need to continue to talk about. And I also realized that I may have come off as very hard against the Walkaway people, and I didn't intend to come off as hard against them. While I don't agree with a migratory movement like that and a groupthink philosophy that goes with it, I am thankful for everybody who has decided to start Walkaway and walk away from the Democrat Party, especially as it's going into the throes of authoritarianism. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to discuss a little bit of the negative reaction to the Walkaway movement and what it means for a society and why I think that the negative reaction, at least on the right, should stop. It's probably pretty obvious as to why most people on the right think that people should stop criticizing walkaway people. Those votes are votes no matter who they come from. The politicians out there on the right are not necessarily going down and shaking hands and directly taking a vote from a particular voter or constituent. That vote is just a number, and the numbers will add up in the end and go over to the popular side. A lot of this is why Donald Trump came out and said that he wouldn't disavow votes from the KKK and wouldn't beg them not to vote for him. He doesn't necessarily have to go into a KKK hall and stand next to a grand wizard, but every number on each one of those votes does count, and it is a numbers game. People want to try and play it like it's a society game or a philosophy game, but when it boils right down to it, it's a numbers game. That's why so many people on the left were so eager to cite the popular vote in the 2016 presidential election, because it was a numbers game. I made a video about this not too long ago when I was talking about one of my Twitter spats. And the reason that I made the video is because it seems that the people on the left do not realize that it is a numbers game. And on the other side of it, some of them do. The people on the left right now are willing to alienate everybody who didn't vote Democrat in 2016, calling them tainted votes and saying that they're not welcome back in the Democrat Party. And I'm willing to welcome every one of those into the Republican Party, and I will gladly take every one of their votes. And I should hope that the representatives that they vote for when they take those votes would represent their interests. But on the walkaway side of it, there is a lot more of it that comes with it. I will preface what I'm about to say by saying that I defend the free speech of the person that commented, and that's why I approved the comment to come through, because it originally got caught in the spam filter. But there was a particularly mean comment in my last video, and it was saying essentially the same thing. The commenter stated that liberals vote with feels and not facts, and that was a bad thing to come over, and that would taint our side of the aisle. And I don't necessarily agree with that, and I expressed that myself when I commented back. I've noticed over the course of my lifetime that the Party of Liberty seems to have switched from the left to the right. I know when I was voting Democrat, I wanted the government as far out of my life as I possibly could, and it was explained to me that this was the ideal of the Democrat Party. They were the liberal party. They wanted freedom. I don't know if that was true because I was brought up in a small town upbringing in the 90s with little access to the outside world, but that was what I was taught, so that is what I currently believe. At the time, the far right was the finger-waggling churchgoers that just wanted to restrict how you did things and how you lived your life. It's kind of funny, a lot of the values that the far right had out there that I didn't believe in at the time, I do believe in now. But on the other end of it, I wouldn't want to deny somebody who didn't believe the same way I did, as long as they wanted to come together and work to make sure that everybody was welcome. That's kind of the point that I'm seeing out of the right side of the aisle right now. And being the Party of Liberty right now, I want people to be able to choose which party that they're affiliated with on their own. It seems that the Democrats don't want to do this. The Democrats don't want to take anybody who was a former Republican at this point. Their votes are tainted, as I've mentioned twice before. The sentiment that I expressed back to the commenter is that we do need to welcome these new voters into our party, but we also need to take some time and teach them. We need to teach them our ways and try to free their minds from the dichotomy of the two-party system and show them the ways of liberty. Many of the people that are in the Walkaway movement now were two-time Obama voters, which means that they were okay at the time with living under an economically authoritarian state as long as they were free to choose their gender and choose their lifestyle and choose who they sleep with. It's the last three things on that list that I'm actually okay with. It's the economic authoritarianism that I've rebelled against when I decided to move over to the right side of the aisle. My money and my taxes are not the government's property. It's something that the government has to come and ask me for, and that's the way that we need to teach the people that are coming over on the Walkaway movement. And honestly, as they're working harder and they're making more, it's probably going to be easier to show them as long as they're keeping more of their own money. Lastly, I want to take some time and talk about the Democrat side of the aisle and how they are reacting to the Walkaway movement, because it's definitely nothing good. There are many news sources out there, both mainstream and independent, who have gone as far as to call anybody who is posting Walkaway as just a Russian bot, as we walk back to the Russian narrative and Russian meddling in our election. Because at this point, all of the Russian interference that happened in the 2016 election has been really boiled down to a few Facebook ads that went mostly unnoticed because Facebook was already dying by 2016. The people on the left now believe that any attempt on any form of social media to discredit the left and their politicians is more Russian interference. I have been called a Russian bot on over 6 different occasions at this point, and I have hands, I have skin, I have hair. I can tell you definitely that I am not a bot. I can also assure you that in spite of the fact that I do carry a verifiable mixed bag of European heritage, I am definitely 100% not Russian in any way, shape, or form. Even though there are so many on the right that are so angry with everybody who is posting the hashtag Walkaway and making videos about it, calling them self-serving and attention-seeking and any other sort of traitorous terms that they'd like to place on these people, it's very easy to see that this is an important movement and this is something that actually has the left a little bit scared that they are going to fall into disarray and eventually fall apart and maybe even fall off as a party. You can tell by the reaction. All that the left wants to do is discredit this movement. All that they want to do is call it nothing. They want to try and push people away from going into it, and they want to try and paint it as a fake. I talked a bit in my last video about the fact that swing voters are always going to be there. It's something that's never going to go away in any democracy, representative or direct. And it's very true that the swing voters in any situation are always going to be attracted to whichever party is the most moderate. While it's very true, like Morpheus said, that the majority of the population isn't ready to be unplugged and is hopelessly dependent on one system or another, in our political case, the two-party system where you have to be one or the other and you can't be both, the Walkaway movement has given us the opportunity to free many, many more minds and try to show many more people the path of liberty. Not everybody is going to take the lesson, but we have the opportunity to teach. And that's the most important thing that we can do right now, is to teach. So Walkaway voters, no matter what anybody else on the right says about how you're turncoating and how you're being a traitor to yourself and to your ideals, I welcome you to the right side. And I hope that you'll take some time while you're over here on the right and listen to some of us talk about liberty and smaller government. I think we could teach you a lot, and I think we could build a better society with it. What's your Walkaway story? Or if you're only curious about Walkaway, what are some questions that you have for people who have already walked away and for people who are firmly onto the right? I always welcome a thoughtful discussion in the comment section below, and especially over on Twitter. That is at EdsBlogTwitter with a 1 in place of the I. Thanks as always for listening to this show and supporting this channel. And remember, never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. Take care, everyone.